Hello everyone and welcome to this fortnight's episode of the Fortnightly Frontier podcast where we talk about everything and anything about Star Citizen because we don't know anything else.
True.
I am Darjanator. That's Myre. This is chat. Say hi, chat.
And this whole thing is a podcast, if you haven't gathered already.
It is a podcast, yes. Welcome. It is a warm podcast because it is the summer of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
If you're watching this in the future, this may be actually pertinent information. Probably isn't, but anyway. How you doing, Myre?
Doing warm. It's hard to think, and it's hard to. It's hard. Yeah. It's hard.
It is,
yeah.
But we shall persevere. We are hardy men.
Yeah.
And
wait, what?
What are we talking about today on the Fortnightly Frontier?
So this was a topic that you brought up.
I did.
Yes. So I think that you perhaps maybe should explain it again.
Oh, yes, of course, yes. So today, chat, viewers, listeners, we are talking about difficulty levels. It is a topic that I appropriated from Mr. Chad McKinney on Twitter. Well, I was inspired to talk about it on this show from the conversation with him. And the discussion was basically on the importance of difficulty levels in video games, both on the higher level and on the lower level. And I was just wondering how they're going to do that in Star Citizen.
Okay, so difficulty in Star Citizen. So, I mean, I guess we could first of all start by talking about what, I guess, unlike other concepts and stuff in Star Citizen, discussing difficulty. I mean, what is this difficulty? I think everybody already knows.
Yes.
So, like, I think that when it comes to making, like, difficult content and stuff in, like, a traditional, like, FPS game, say, like, Grand Theft Auto or, like, Halo, you know, you just go into the options and you can choose, like easy mode, hard mode, and that kind of thing.
Yeah. But how does that actually affect the gameplay in those games?
Yeah.
Like you probably have just two ways of going about this. It's like one is just arbitrarily adjusting the bullet sponginess of your enemies.
Mm-hmm.
And the other is also adjusting how clever the AI is.
Yeah.
But then you have puzzle games where you can get hints more often, and the path where you're supposed to walk is labeled more visibly, for instance. In Tomb Raider, I think, does that. You have an option to actually disable the white paint on all the ledges and rocks where you can go, so it's a lot easier for you to traverse, for instance.
Yeah, SC already does that in caves with all the yellow markings and stuff, trying to make that, diegetic with all the other yellow stuff that they have in the game. But yeah, so that's single player games in general.
Single player games, yeah. Squadron 42 could possibly have settings like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, single player games. Because it is only you, the one player, that is affected by this. But
so
Star Citizen is an MMO.
It's an MMO. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How do MMOs do this?
So generally speaking, in MMO, difficulty ranges based on region. So like when you first start the game, typically speaking, you are all in. You start off in one of a few different starting zones, and those zones have missions and stuff tailored to your character. And if you can overlevel and, destroy that content, then move over to a different location and then, rinse and repeat until you're max level.
Yes, but ain't no levels in Star Citizen either.
There are no levels in Star Citizen, no. Instead of levels, what you have is like a range of like reputations instead. And
equipment, I guess.
Yeah, so reputations, wealth, equipment, currencies in general. So, I guess, how do other games that are MMOs but are not traditional MMOs, how do they handle difficulty and things like that? I think the only other game really that we can compare Star Citizen to on this kind of thing is maybe perhaps Elite Dangerous?
I was thinking EVE Online.
Okay. So, I haven't played EVE.
In EVE, I guess it's just security levels per sector, per system. Like the lower sector you go to, the more powerful the NPCs are there. There are, but it's not like an arbitrary buff that they have. It's basically just, it's in lore. They have the better tech. They have the better ships. There are more of them. That's how they do that.
Right.
And also in higher security systems, it's a lot easier for you to attract the attention of the law enforcement.
Right. In a game like Elite Dangerous, how I remember them doing it, and people can correct me if like that's not how they do it anymore. But so because there are like so many like tens of millions of stars or whatever, like they for some reason I feel like there's like a cluster of star systems that people can start off in. But essentially, for the most part, they're all pretty much the same. And so what happens is that when you first start playing the game for the first time, you wake up in a random space station, and you have like, you know, the lowest amounts of reputation for, you know, across the board, and one small ship. So the only missions that you get given are for people with your reputation level and your small ship. And then so you can keep that place as your home system, keep doing missions for them. And as you accrue wealth and stuff and reputation, you can get more difficult missions, taking you either like further away from the station for more difficult content, or like, you know, like just spawning in more difficult enemies for you in that location based on your reputation.
Yeah, but Star Citizen, on the other hand, is not gonna be that sort of like instance-based, where you know the game can just spawn more enemies for you based on your reputation level. Everything is quanta-based. Well, will be quanta-based. So the entire difficulty level field is already there.
Yeah.
So no matter who enters it, whether it's me in an Aurora or the entirety of Test Squadron, you know, the difficulty will remain the same. And it's the actions that change that.
So I think what you're referring to is like, let's say, so the actions, as in if you do a lot of missions in one place, then that place will get more rich, and so that because of that, it'll be more systemic.
But also in a more compressed way, like if a lot of dickheads are attacking a station, you know, the crime rating level is,
the heat level,
the heat level, gets higher and higher in that location. So more and more law enforcement ships start coming in. That's one way how the difficulty level can change dynamically, but it's that just means that there's no preset structure. It's constantly changing. Right?
Yeah, I mean, like, I suppose they could make it so that, like, depending on where you are and depending on some parameters on a station or like in a system, like they could have different like degrees of like inherent difficulty that have like, you know, like an over and an under depending on, you know, like player activity. So like if you're in Pyro and you are like just blowing people up, or in not Ruin Station, which is like, you know, the main place, but like another space station or something, if you're just blowing people up, I wouldn't expect the same amount of NPC interference as if you were doing the same thing in a high sec area, you know?
Pyro's unclaimed by the UEE anyway, right?
Unclaimed, yeah.
So there's no way that they'll be showing up, but maybe someone who has a vested interest in keeping the status quo in Pyro will send their forces. Like Xenothreat, for instance.
Like Xenothreat, yeah. But will their response be the same as that in the standard system? Will they have the same amount of resources? Probably not. So how I feel that they'll likely handle certain amounts of difficulty in Star Citizen is that like in each star system will have their inherent difficulty based on like NPCs and the percentage of like, you know, lawful and high morality NPCs versus like the other, you know,
which can also fluctuate, right? Depending on how healthy the economy is and how numerous the criminal population gets versus Regular, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so all right. So starting with just a regular basis of difficulty per system.
yeah.
What
And
about
then
more localized? No, not per system, but like more specific locations. What do you think?
Well, again, it could be based on mission. Like, if a place is supposed to be heavily fortified or whatever, in a place that's generally like easier for newer players because it doesn't have like NPCs or like pirates or whatever. Then maybe perhaps it could be based on, oh, you have a high enough reputation to go ahead and do this strike on this like bunker or something. I think that they could probably do a lot of it just by tying it all into the reputation system, or tying it into your inventory, like your ships and stuff. I remember back when they first talked about the Hammerhead, and I think it was like in a Q&A or something, somebody asked, okay, so like, will there be Hammerhead specific missions? And they said that they have the intention of doing it. Obviously, when they said it 3 or 4 years ago, we expected it, like in the next couple months, but we still don't have ship specific missions. But I feel like once we get further down the line with quanta and systemic missions, that based on either your reputation or what you're capable of, you'll be able to be given missions based on all that.
I don't think they'll go as specific as like ship specific missions. The latest balance pass for weaponry and shields and maneuverability in 3.14, which is not yet for live, specifically states that they're balancing ships for their intended role.
Right.
So I'm guessing there'll be ship role specific missions, but which one you take and whether it overlaps with another role, that's up to you then.
Right.
Afterwards.
I think an interesting thing they could do for missions, in order to make it so that like people who are newer to the game, or just in general, just to make it easier for them to understand what kind of mission they're getting themselves into, they could probably like add some sort of threat level system into the game, where so that like if you're in like a relatively high sec system, but there's a mission that's supposed to be super challenging, it can say this mission has a threat level of, like 5 out of 5 or something like that. And then how they would then decide whether or not you are capable of beating that mission, maybe perhaps they could appraise your fleet. Like maybe if you're in an Aurora and it says this thing is threat level 5, it'll say your Aurora, it is like relatively speaking, threat level half a star or something like that.
Or, well, they already have some sort of rating. Like they have very low rating level, extremely low, and then medium and high.
Yeah.
So they have that.
But they would need some way of appraising you to let you as a player know, because VLRT doesn't mean anything to anybody. I mean, like to a new player, it just means something. It just means letters. But like until you go out there and you do a VLRT, you don't know how capable you are for that mission.
So, well, yeah, you would sort of like with the Bounty Hunter Guild, there would need to be a sort of rating system aside from the reputation. Like you can very slowly grind your way up the reputation ladder, but just because you have low skill with high persistence, but somebody who has very high skill can climb that ladder very quickly, and you're at the same level reputation wise, but put them in the same mission, you'll have very different outcomes.
Yeah. Because the idea is, if you do have a Hammerhead that has 8 players on it, then if you were to do like let's again say like a 5-star mission or something, then they would appraise your ship and say your Hammerhead has is comparable in like rating to this mission, and so thumbs up, go get them. Because otherwise, difficulty in Star Citizen is going to be one of those things where, like, unless it's system by system, and they have like let's say Stanton system has like a security of like 20% of like 80%, right? So like that's just a thing. And then based on the actions of players and Xenothreat, and like if players abandon standard for other stuff, then it can fluctuate in security, like up and low, but have cutoffs for it. So there is no way that the Stanton system, if abandoned by the players, would like fall into complete and utter like it wouldn't be recoverable anymore. I don't think that that should be the case for anywhere. There should be like an upper and a lower, but like in general, you would know that, let's say Terra has like a security of 90, you don't want to do stuff there, or like, like Pyro has a security of 20, and you can, and so you know that the missions there are going to be more difficult for you and more challenging in general, but based on the actions of the players, it can fluctuate to make the experience, like reflect that.
Yeah, and also you can just go with more players with escort, and the mission itself will be a lot easier for more people with more firepower to accomplish, right?
Yeah.
That's one way of, I guess. So right. Let's say you're me, and you're not very good at PvP. You still don't want to miss out on the more glorious battles out there in the verse, right? So you can only piggyback on somebody more skillful.
Well, I mean, with Star Citizen, dogfighting isn't the only thing you can do. You don't have to be Moist Noodle of the Dark Lord to enjoy PvP, unless, of course, you want to specifically enjoy fighting players in single-seater ships. Because they want to go ahead and do this thing where, like, like a multi-crew ship has like a weapons operator and a shield operator and a radar operator and this kind of thing. I feel like there'll be a lot more, and then, of course, with bigger ships, even you have multiple people doing that, there'll be enough slack, as it were, to be able to like allow somebody who is not as efficient to be carried in that way. So I don't think that's going to be much of an issue. But what I feel like there needs to be, even for that, would be, again, some sort of rating system, because like if you wanted to like hire somebody on your ship to be a shield operator, how would you know that they are as good as they say they are? Or like if you want to hire like a hacker or an EWAR person, how would you know they're as good as they say they are?
That's something that should come in, right?
I feel so. I mean, we've had some in lore and like, funny things like that. Like
basically Yelp, right? Describing Yelp.
Not really. So like, I forget which ship it was. Maybe it was a mining ship. But like when you finish like the Q&A or whatever, not the Q&A, but when you finish like some questions or something, you got like a license to fly,
Mole, I think.
Yeah, so yeah, if you have...
No, SRV.
Yeah, with the SRV, you have a Type G license to fly the SRV, right? So maybe perhaps in Star Citizen, there might be a place you can go to do some simulated like XYZ, like simulated shield modulation or simulated like anything, right? So then you can say, I am, I got the achievement, I've got
bounty license certification is also already a thing, right?
Yeah. But
like you just need to be expanded to other things. Like you can operate shields, you can change subcomponents in a power plant when it goes out. So you are qualified to be an engineer.
Yeah. Like player to player like reviews definitely needs to be a thing, but that's something that can easily be abused if you're in a big enough org. So like there would also need to be some way that you would be able to get some sort of like, so player to player stuff is just generally speaking so that a player knows you're trustworthy, but they won't necessarily know how skilled you are. So so I think that, like how in Star Trek they have the Kobayashi Maru, I think like there needs to be some sort of like simulation room or like place that you can go to where like, okay, I want to get an engineer like rating and stuff. So they'll put you into like a simulation where, okay, this is gone critical, this needs to be overclocked, this needs this, and the captain needs his TL gray hot. So you have to do that, and based on how fast you do it, then you get a rating, and then you can say, this is me. And because, I mean, like, let's go simpler. If you want to say I'm a good dogfighter, you can go into Arena Commander and do Vandal Swarm in under 5 minutes, right? And then that's how they know you can kick NPC ass real fast, So that'd be a cool thing to have in Star Citizen to say, I've got my gold wings or something or whatever because I am that good in AC. It'd be cool to have that going on into other parts of the game, and that would really help. Not only just so players know the people that they're going with, but at the same time so that you in this kind of shared experience with other people kind of feel more like, immersed in it. At the same time, it's going to make people who aren't so good at X, Y, or Z feel bad, but, you know, that's just part of it, I guess.
Well, it's a learning experience. It's the opportunity for them to get better.
Yeah.
It feels like these roles also come with an inherent lower starting floor or end ceiling. Like shield operator doesn't really have the same skill set requirement as the pilot.
For now.
For instance,
for now.
For now, yeah.
Strictly speaking, shield operator and Star Citizen, even with everything we have right now, even with the ability to be able to move like shield faces and stuff in multi-crew ships, there isn't enough information given to that player in that seat for it to be a useful experience at all at the moment.
UI, yes, yeah.
Yeah, because UI is so in dire need of changing. Because if you were to, like, let's say, sit in the co-pilot seat of the Constellation right now, you can move the power triangle in that co-pilot seat, but in that same seat you have no idea what the pilot's current gun ammunition number is, so you are useless when it comes to like when to charge their guns back up. You can see when the shields need to be charged, but otherwise you don't know, like, you know, how much boost you have. You don't know how hot the components are. You don't know where enemies are because you don't have a radar, so you're not able to, you know, charge the shield faces based on where the enemies are either. So, you know, you could argue that that's where player communication comes in, but at the same time, I think that's a cop-out.
Yeah. The game should, on its own, be able to present you with all the information you need to be a useful crew member.
Yeah.
I had a couple of things as well. Like, okay, what about non-ship stuff? FPS missions.
FPS missions. So, like, in terms of difficulty, or are we going back to the idea?
Difficulty.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, I think FPS missions and stuff would definitely be would boil down to, again, reputation. You'd get like really easy missions doing something to maybe like do a hit on what.
How do you adjust the level of the difficulty? Like, how do you make a FPS mission that's easy versus one that is hard?
You need to go kill one person versus you need to go kill 20, I guess. Plus, as part of the archetype system, we know that they're going to be novice NPCs. They're going to be like, you know, trained NPCs, scared ones, civilians, that kind of thing. So there is an inherent difficulty level within NPCs coming in. So you basically just get a mission with crappier NPCs and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think that, yeah.
And also, I'm guessing just like you can have a bebetter loadout going in, they can have a better loadout going in as well.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, instead of just pistols, they have what was it called? Noob tubes.
Boomsticks, you're gonna say.
Boomsticks and noob tubes, yeah. Just something to do more damage, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think that'd be simple enough for them to do.
And in the same regard, also, when it comes to dogfighting, components, right? For enemy NPCs or enemy players.
Yeah, because even though things are going to be systemic or whatever with like VNPCs, there are still going to be probability volumes and stuff like that for you to go to for your missions too. There's going to be a mix of the two for your missions, so they can spawn in something tailored to you as well.
Oh yeah, I guess. Yeah, so if a probability volume spawns in an NPC, it could scan your ship for like whether it has the basic bitch components or it has all the things maxed out, so it just adjusts.
So the challenge of the mission would be then not necessarily based on what ship you have, but like just based on how skilled you are as a player.
Right, yeah. That makes sense. But also, of course, constricted to like the upper and lower bounds of what that region is meant to present.
Exactly.
Like you can't just spawn in an enemy Idris, inside stand-in, for instance, right?
Mhm.
You wouldn't be able to, because that just wouldn't logically happen
Exactly.
unless there's an event going on.
Unless there's an event going on.
But
Yeah.
that's not quanta based. That's GM based in game. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean, so have you heard or about how they're changing hacking and what hacking is going to look like?
I've heard it being referred to as 3D Pac-Man or
3D Pac-Man, yeah. So obviously they also said that there's going to be different like difficulties of that too. So
yeah.
I mean, I haven't played Pac-Man in a long time, but does it get more difficult? Did like the ghosts get faster?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Not faster. Yeah, they do get faster, but also cleverer.
Okay.
Although
So-
I don't know whether that's just an extension of their speed, or does their difficult their AI does it get smarter as well? Because they do have 4 different personalities depending on the ghost. So there's that.
Okay. Yeah. But because it's
but-
3D Pac-Man,
Mhm.
I don't think it's going to be one flat plane. I think it's going to be like a cube you have to like move around.
Interesting.
So it could get really complicated.
But there's also like the easiest ones won't even have any pitfalls for you to get trapped in. It's basically just be navigating the path, and then you're done.
Yeah, but by that same token, it'd be cool if you could get accreditation somewhere. So say I'm a X-rated hacker man because no?
That's all underground. It's all underground. It's word of mouth. It's based on your nickname. It's gonna be, Morpheus is gonna be very, very famous in the underground, in the hacking underground. You know what I mean?
All right, fair enough. I get that.
Hack the planet.
But what if hack to you? But what if we because I don't think hacking is only going to be just for like criminal players. I feel like there's also going to be good guy missions for hacking too, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I can see it happening in Squadron 42, for instance, in that vertical slice mission, where you had to once the player established power to the system, there still had to manually open a door. But that could be 2 different ways. You could cut away the panel and manually open the door.
Yeah.
Or connect to a nearby terminal station and, hack your way into it.
Yeah, good adventure games always need to have like multiple ways of getting into one place.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%. I am looking forward to that. A lot. So I guess in general we've covered quite a bit in this short amount of time. I mean, like we've talked about like where we feel like difficulty is going to be coming from in Star Citizen, like what different kind of ways it could go to, and how you could see how difficult a thing is.
Yeah, it was speaking of Squadron 42, like we said that they could probably just have a difficulty slider in the options, like most single player games do. But do you think they'll also? It will probably be quite systemic, right? Like they would get a higher quality armor, better weapons, and maybe their AI would go up a notch from new or what was the phrase you used? Inexperienced to all the way up to ace, right?
Yeah. So because
but not actual bullet sponges, right? That I always think is
I
like
hate
a
bullet spongy stuff. 100%. Yeah, there needs to be other ways of it, and I think enemies being more reactive, or I mean, to a degree, based on their armor, maybe perhaps there would be a little bit of bullet sponginess to the enemies, but not so much as it's like like The Division or something, where you're headshotting somebody with a 50 cal sniper rifle like for 10 minutes before they die. That I don't want to see in this game. But but speaking of the game being systemic difficulty-wise, and things getting more difficult as you get better, I also feel like it gives CIG the opportunity to make it so that the game can be easier if you suck. If you keep dying, then they should give you easier missions until like you know what I mean? Like if you keep failing
in Star Citizen, right? Not
yeah,
Squadron
yeah,
42.
yeah. If you keep failing in Star Citizen, you should get easier missions. And I think it's something
you keep losing reputation depending on who your mission giver is, right?
Yeah.
So then they would automatically start giving you missions with lower risk factor, I guess.
Lower risk,
but also lower payout. I would imagine.
True, 100%. Yeah, they've spoken about how they want this same thing to work when it comes to PvP. So again, they said they don't want PvP sliders, but like if you're in the Stanton system, like let's say 3 years from now, we have multiple star systems or whatever. If you're in the Stanton system then, which should be like really high sec, but you want to PvP somebody, then if you kill somebody there, or you take a mission to kill somebody, or you do an outlaw mission, then more outlaw missions should be open to you until you get what you want to do. You know, like you'll start being served more things based on your playstyle. Yeah, because they've explained how that would work, I feel like difficulty-wise and the kinds of missions served to you should also be based on just how good you are and what you want to do.
I'm just reminded that there are 2 ways of tracking you per organization or corporation or mission giver, right? You have the levels that you go through, and then you have the affinity as well, right? Do you think affinity has to do with, in a roundabout way, how well you perform in the missions?
Maybe. I mean, it could be based on how fast you do the mission, or like if you have a mission to deliver 3 boxes and you only deliver 2, maybe perhaps that could fall into it.
Or how many consecutive missions in a row you're successful in, like how that success rating fluctuates with you depending on how difficult the missions are.
Yeah. Right now, though, I believe if you just fail a mission, your affinity goes down. I don't know if any other things affect it yet. I don't know if CIG will ever like release any documentation on that, because they seem to like letting some things just let people think about it. I mean, we didn't know about like the reputation system that was soft in until like years after they had put it in.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting. I think the new updates to ships, to have them be a lot more focused in their roles, is gonna also allow them to tailor the difficulty of NPCs, not just from how they behave, but also what sort of ship they're flying.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah,
it's gonna be a grind again.
Yeah, I mean, like most MMOs are. I mean, like the only difference really is the carrot at the end of the day. Star Citizen wants to be a sandbox MMO, so like in sandboxes, all you really do is grind. I mean, that's the game. It's not like Final Fantasy 14, which is story, just story with like bits of gameplay elements in there. It's it's more akin to like, let's say you put a Rust server, but with more people or something, and with more like more systems in it.
Yeah, you're just gonna have to make sure that the grind isn't boring.
As long as there's a sufficient enough carrot, then that's the game we're playing, right? It's a grind game. Reputation, missions, unlocks, yeah.
But even the missions, if they're stringed, like they've been talking about, like a mission once you fulfill an objective and you turn the mission in.
Yeah.
Like story-wise, it'd be cool if they would continue. Like if you went to a wreck to find somebody and you got them, and then somebody else contacts you, like they were their relative, trying to get more information about what happened and stuff like that. It's just that sort of
they wanted to feel like a lived experience. Yeah.
Not that every mission is like its own isolated slice of life, like it happens in so many
Yeah.
in MMOs. Even if you have like a dedicated mission giver that kinda builds a story, it never feels like that to me.
Yeah.
In Guild Wars, that was something that really struck me. It's just like there was no connection of these characters to the world they were in.
Yeah. The mission of Star Citizen is a bit different from the mission of any other MMO that's really out there. That, you know, like those MMOs, I mean, nowadays you can be really cynical with some and say that just that, you know, they're made to make money, but that's not really where I'm getting at. With Star Citizen, like their goal, as far as gameplay wise, is to make a universe that feels like you are, you know, you're sharing with other people, and it's immersive, and that's the end goal, right? It's not necessarily about like you know, they haven't spoken about end game per se. It's just like the crux of what they want is that they want you to feel like you are the person that is in the game, essentially, right? And so as long as the systems that they add into the game kind of like steer you in that path to being like, okay, yeah, like I'm doing this mission to like, you know, deliver a box or to kill this person, but it's more than that. Like that box belongs to some NPC that I helped before. They're the NPC now, so like I'll see them at PO later, that kind of thing. Or like, you know, I'm with my friends, we're going to be doing this thing. We need to grind missions in UEC to be able to like go on an adventure together, that kind of thing. That's, you know, like there's a bit of a difference to that. And
but I also feel that a lot of missions are going to have counter missions as well.
Yeah.
But not just like you are tasked with one thing and then another player is instantly tasked with getting in your way.
Yeah.
It would be like several NPCs would contact you, or you know, about the same general mission, and then you decide how you want to do this depending on which NPC, for instance, you feel more affinity towards and stuff like that, you know, and then you build your own reputation like that. You build your path in Star Citizen, even though it's not a single player game that has a path, you know what I mean?
I like that idea. I haven't thought of that. I think
like say Clovis has you. It kind of already is with Clovis. Like Clovis has you go to the satellite and grab that experimental thing, but as soon as you grab it, you get a call from Ruto, for instance, and he says, "Look, I'm gonna pay you double if you deliver that to me."
So Elite Dangerous does this, actually. I should remember it. Yeah, and definitely they could do that. So not only a counter mission insofar as like another player has a mission to stop you, but counter offer mission. Right? Yeah. As Uri in chat says there as well, Grand Theft Auto also has missions like that too.
In online, or was that in single player?
I don't know.
I haven't played online.
Yeah, I haven't played online in a long time. But yeah, that'd be cool too, for sure, 100%.
But that's also getting away from the whole difficulty path. We're tangenting again.
I mean, we'd already.
What was us?
Yeah, there's not really much else we can really touch up on the difficulty subject. I mean, like without theory crafting a whole lot.
Yeah, we're just basically without skills. The difficulty is limited to equipment and number of foes.
Yeah, and I suppose reputation. Reputation is very important because
just unlocking that sort of difficulty in the first place.
Yeah,
you could stumble upon it, you know.
Yeah,
as well as having a player with that mission unlocked take you there. You could also stumble upon it because it's not an instant thing. Star Citizen, it's there for everyone.
Yeah. Now difficulty ratings will be very important for all this, so that you as a player can visually see what's up.
Yeah. Also, but then like, I also don't want it, but on the other hand, I do, because it makes sense that a player with a lower skill level can't get the good missions, right? the missions with more difficulty shouldn't be just a tougher fight.
I mean, then how else would you, I mean, like, make a mission difficult if it's not just tougher?
Hmm.
I mean, if it's a mission where somebody needs to die, then like, it's gonna be tough, right? I mean, like, it has to be tough, right? Like, how does it get more difficult? I mean, like,
well, no, it's to do with the payout. I would say, like
Okay.
a mission with higher difficulty has a higher payout, has a higher impact on the world.
Okay.
Not just in terms of how much money you get, but like if you got rid of a very prominent pirate, then your name is then in the books, right? As someone famous who got rid of somebody very like a big nuisance. But
Right.
then like a player with a low skill level will never have the chance to do that. Even if they try, like it's not something that is inherently a matter of just repetition and training, right? Even if you do that, there's going to be a lot of people who just don't have the knack for it, but still want that experience in the end.
I mean, tough, right? It's an MMO. End of the day, I mean, like, you want to make a game. You don't want to. You don't want to make a movie. That's what a video game is all about. I mean, like, especially an MMO. I mean, there's only so much you can do for people who don't have the ability to do it. You know,
unless you piggyback them.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's where multi-crew would come in, and that kind of thing. You can throw as many bodies as you want into a mission, and and to make them arbitrary or just unfun. I mean, that's not going to go anywhere. I feel they're not going to take away your mission. But you know, like, that's definitely one way. If you want to solo a mission or do it the way, you know, recommended style, then you can. But what's interesting about Star Citizen is that you can have as many people as you want doing something and do it that way. Yeah. But I don't feel like a brand new player should have like missions available to them that like somebody who's been playing for a while and has the reputation, has the trust of an NPC can do.
Yeah. It would be nice to have, but you know, then you go to single player games in Squadron 42 where you are guaranteed to be the hero.
Yeah.
And you know, you can just lower the difficulty for yourself until it matches your skill level in video games.
On the flip side though, and this already works in the game right now, but I don't know if it's going to continue this way, but if you are a brand new player without access to an HRT mission or whatever like that, you can still join somebody's party who does have the backing of the Bounty Hunters Guild, and they can share that mission with you, and you can do it, and you can get experience, and you can get reputation. But but like in other MMOs that do this, if you are of a lower reputation ranking, you should get a substantially lower reputation gain as a result of being somebody's sidekick, is what I feel.
Yeah, well, that's what I meant with piggybacking, yeah. But, yeah, again, reputation gains should also be measured with like what your impact on the mission was. If you're just there to be a pretty face and look out the window, even though you were in the party that completed the mission, like, do you think it's actually even possible to track that?
I mean, it depends, like, on what kind of mission it is. If it's a find a person who is unconscious mission, and you have 5 people and one person finds it, then does that only one person get the thing? Or if there's a mission to, like, let's say kill one guy, but they have so many bodyguards or whatever, and you have one person in front just gunning everybody before people behind can get them, then it gets, you don't want this, because that breeds a certain level of competitiveness within a thing that's supposed to be cooperative that can lead to toxicity. So I don't think it's necessary.
So just basically the entire party was responsible or effectual in completing the mission, so everybody gets the same amount of reward other than their ranking within the guild.
Yeah.
kind of makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know,
Because a combat mission is easy to track because then you just track who kills whom and how many kills you attain.
But even then, you don't want that because it breeds toxicity. You should just
exactly. But you also have people who aren't dealing with combat. You have shield operators, you have engineers, you have people putting out fires. So much tracking going on of support roles. That kind of, I don't think the game would have any way of knowing if any of that was a contributing factor or how much of a contributing factor it was. So yeah, I guess it should be just blind.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that you can't have competitiveness within cooperative things. But within an MMO like Star Citizen, I think there's a bit different. Like, let's say you're playing an arcade shooter or something, where it's you and a friend in like a 2D platformer or whatever, and you're shooting enemies, right? And at the end of the thing, you get the high score, and they have a lower score because you show all the things. That's fine. But if there is a more tangible reward going forwards in an MMO, then maybe perhaps, I don't know, things get a bit grayer then, you know?
Actually, I'll have you know, the EXO has the score to beat.
Is that a reference for something?
Yeah, the Javelin Tour, the guy in the mess hall.
Oh yeah, of course. It took a second.
Yeah. When it's so nebulous and not as clear cut as just levels, competitiveness can get weird.
Yeah, especially if again it's like if it's based on the contribution of like how many people like you kill in that thing, because then that would then also breed. Let's say that you have a mission to go to a bunker to take out, like, let's say 6 NPCs. There are 3 of you, and the more people you drop, the more you get paid. That means that you're gonna go sprinting in there to try and get all the guys killed, so you get paid more. Yeah. That in a game like Star Citizen, that's completely counter to what you want to do. You want to take it slow.
Death sentence. Yeah.
Exactly. You want to take it slow. You want to make sure that you get in there and out without getting injured, or taking an injury with you when you get out, and that kind of thing.
Because it's all about the bigger picture. It's like how well you do the objective versus how well the objective is completed versus how well you contribute to it.
Yeah, like the game shouldn't arbitrarily pay you. I mean, like, you are a group that have gone in, the game will give the group money, or the group leader the money. Maybe, like in games like World of Warcraft and like Final Fantasy, if you go into a dungeon, you can choose how loot is given out. You can either choose that it's like round robin, so like if a monster drops something, it's like it's his now, it's his now, it's his now. Or like you can set it so that like a monster drops something, you can like need or greed for it. Or you can set it so that like it's raid leader loot or something, so that the raid leader then goes and chooses who that thing goes to. So there are different ways of which you as a party can go into something, so that like if you want to reward the person who's done the most, you can set it that way. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's a bit of a different topic, I feel.
Yeah, we could definitely return to that once we also have more information on loot specifically. Yeah.
True. Which is coming soon, so we'll probably make that the next topic, honestly.
Possibly, although it's coming 3.15, right?
That's
or is
soon.
it 3.14 already?
3.15, yeah.
Yeah, but it's a fortnightly frontier. It's not the quarterly frontier.
That means that it's within 4 episodes.
Yeah, all right. 4 episodes, I'll take.
Okay.
Okay. But anyway, I think we've milked this one for everything it's got.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
shall we wrap it up?
All right. Yes.
I know you want to get your AC on as soon as possible.
Yes. I would like to. The room has gone up 2 degrees since.
Damn.
Yeah,
All right, let's hurry it up then. Go, 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 go.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this episode of the Fortnightly Frontier, live on Twitch TV and also on YouTube a day or so after. If you enjoyed what you've seen here today, then you can always feel free to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell, and you'll be notified the next time we go live. I've been Myre. Over there has been, as always, Mr. Darjanator. Thank you for watching once again, and I forget the rest.
We'll see you in the verse. That's what we say.